Before we do, though, I want to talk a little bit about regulatory considerations. With everything that we do, regulatory is a consideration and a major one at that. And so, Ryan, my question for you is if you could talk us through some of the regulatory requirements that are particularly challenging when it comes to optimizing a cold chain from your perspective, and then some of the ways that you and your team have addressed those challenges, overcome them even, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately for, regulatory, I think one piece of advice is build a relationship with the regulatory agency. They're learning as much as we are in these novel spaces. And so having open communication is important, so that the data that we are putting together is what they're looking for. And ultimately the burden's on us to provide that data, to be able to provide things like, traceability, control of our product. We need to be able to, have the hard data that shows and doesn't suggest or imply that our product and the material comprising it are under control and inside the temperature for the lifespan. So it's really, the burden is on us. I see it as that as a non-negotiable conversation with the FDA. You have to have the data. And so, Rookie gave his example. He's kind of stuck having two different temperature windows because that's how the data was provided and moved through clinical trial and commercial. And so what we're really trying to do is learn from those experiences and put together the data packages to provide the data that the FDA wants to see, to be able to agree that we are making a safe product that can get to those patients that 100% of the time.
Yeah, sure. And certainly in agreement with all aspects of the open communication with FDA early and often, so that everyone's working off the same sheet of music. And so, Rookie, from your perspective, with your therapies that even have been approved or that you're continuing to work on, what are some of the regulatory requirements that have been particularly challenging, but that you are, finding your way through?
Yeah, so I think I agree with Ryan. Having that relationship with the agencies is super important because they are learning. Years ago when I was at Dendreon, the FDA was really just first learning about personalized medicine. So I know the relationship we had with the FDA was critical to that. I think another critical piece is within your own company, establishing a great relationship with your regulatory group. Some companies I've been at, very risk averse, very, very concerned about getting things perfect. Other ones I've been at that were kind of earlier stage, you have a little bit of flexibility to kind of dictate what you're going to do, always with patient safety first, right? But if you have a shipper that's, been qualified to do a certain thing and you think it's going to work for what you do, you kind of have opportunities early on in your trials to show that it's going to do what you need to do. So there's some give and take there. The closer you get to commercialization, the more locked in you are. So some of our challenges, like I said before, I came after we were already commercial. So I'm kind of stuck with what we've filed. And to undo that means we've got to do a lot of testing, gathering more data. And that gets challenging because what if your data shows something even worse than what you already have? So you don't want to, go backwards on what's already approved. So you have to be thoughtful about what you're really trying to do. What's the point of trying to make those changes? So, how do you stay within the boundaries of regulatory requirements, your filings, what your own internal regulatory team wants to do? It's a lot of conversations. Sometimes they go well,